Do something for me. Look up from this screen just for a second and look at the nearest face. If you're alone, look at your own hand, or out the window at a tree, or up at the sky. You feel like you're seeing it right now, don't you? This exact moment, the same moment you're living in, you'd bet anything on it. You would lose that bet because you are not seeing the present. You are seeing the past. You have never in your entire life seen the present moment, not the world, not the people in it, not even your own face, not once. And by the end of this, you'll never trust your own eyes the same way again. I know how that sounds. Like a riddle. Like the kind of thing somebody says at a party to feel clever and then can't quite explain. It is not a riddle. This is one of the simplest, most rock-solid facts in all of physics, and it has been hiding in plain sight your entire life. Behind every sunset you've ever watched, every face you've ever looked into, every time you've glanced at a clock to check the time. Almost nobody stops to notice it. So let's stop and notice it. And it starts with something you've been told since you were a kid, something you're sure you already understand. The speed of light. Here's the thing about seeing. It feels instant. You open your eyes and the world is just there all at once, delivered to you the very instant it happens. That feeling is the illusion. Because seeing is not instant. Seeing takes time. When you look at something, you are not receiving the object. You are receiving light, tiny particles of it, that bounced off that object and then traveled across the gap between it and your eye. And light, as fast as it is not infinitely fast. It has a speed. A specific, measurable, stubbornly finite speed, about 300,000 kilometers every second. Fast enough to lap the entire Earth 7.5 times in the time it takes you to say the word second. But not instant. Never instant. And you actually already know this, deep down. You've lived with the delay your whole life, you just met it with the wrong sense. Think about a thunderstorm. You see the lightning flash, and then you wait. And a few seconds later, the thunder finally rolls in. The light and the sound left the exact same place at the exact same instant. But sound is slow, so it shows up late, and that gap is so obvious you can count it on your fingers to guess how far away the storm is. Light does the very same thing. It is just so blindingly fast that the delay shrinks down past anything your eyes could ever catch. So instead of arriving seconds late, like thunder, it arrives nanoseconds late. And you were simply never built to notice. And because light has to travel, everything you see arrives late. A little stale. Already in the past by the time it lands. There's a lovely way to picture how fast light really is. In 1 nanosecond, 1 billionth of a second, light travels almost exactly 1 foot. 1 nanosecond, 1 foot. So look at the face of someone sitting across the table from you, maybe 3 feet away. The light landing in your eye right now left their face 3 nanoseconds ago. You are seeing them 3 billionths of a second in the past. It's a laughably tiny amount of time. You will never notice it. But notice this, it is not zero. It has never once been zero. There is no distance anywhere in the universe across which you can see a thing exactly as it is, in the same instant that it is. You only ever see what was. Walk it outward, and it gets stranger. The clock on your wall, by the time the light from its face crosses the room and your brain reads the hands, that exact arrangement has already passed. You are reading a time that is already gone. Look across a big room and the far wall is, to you, slightly older than the near one, because its light took longer to arrive. Look across a stadium at someone waving, and you see the wave a sliver of a moment after their arm actually moved. None of this matters at human distances. All of it is true at human distances. Every single thing in your field of view right now is a slightly different age, a slightly different slice of the past, all stitched together into one picture your brain hands you and calmly labels now. And here's the first one that really gets under the skin. Your own face. Go stand in front of a mirror sometime and really think about what is happening. Light leaves your face, travels to the glass, bounces off it, and travels all the way back to your eyes. That round trip takes time. Not much, a couple of nanoseconds, but time. Which means the face looking back at you is always a little bit younger than you are. You are always seeing a version of yourself from a few billionths of a second ago. Sit with that. You have never, not once in your whole life, seen your own face as it is right now. Nobody has. Not in a mirror, not in a photo, not on a screen. The most familiar face in the world to you, and you have only ever met its past. Now let's leave the room. Because once you go up, the delay stops being cute and starts being something else. Look at the moon tonight. The moon is about 1.25 light seconds away, which means the moon you see is the moon as it was a little over a second ago. Fine. Now think about the sun. Please don't actually look at it, but you know the one. The sun is so far away that its light takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach you. So the sunlight on your skin right now, the warmth on the back of your hand, that left the surface of the sun more than 8 minutes ago. You are not seeing the sun. You are seeing where the sun was and what the sun was doing. 8 minutes in the past. Which leads to a genuinely unsettling thought. If the sun somehow simply switched off this very second, gone, vanished, dark, you would have no idea. None. You would keep sitting in its warm yellow light, going about your day for 8 more minutes. The birds would keep singing, the shadows wouldn't move. For 8 full minutes, the single most important fact in the solar system would be true, and not one living thing on Earth would know it yet. We would all be living inside a beautiful, comfortable lie, lit by a star that wasn't there anymore. And that is how thick the delay gets just 8 light minutes out. We are barely getting started. Step outside on a clear night and look up. Every one of those stars is much, much farther away than the sun, and the light from each of them has been traveling for years, decades, centuries, some of it for thousands of years. The starlight hitting your eye tonight set out on its journey long before you were born. Some of it before anyone now alive was born, before your country existed, before the pyramids. You are not looking at the stars. You are looking at old light, old news. A postcard the universe mailed you ages ago that is only now landing in the back of your eye. This is exactly why astronomers measure those distances in light years. A light year sounds like a measure of space, and it is, but look closely at the name. It is a distance defined entirely by time, how far light crawls in a single year. So when someone tells you a star is 400 light years away, they are also quietly telling you something much stranger. You are seeing that star 400 years late. The distance and the delay are the same number. Out there, how far away a thing is and how far back into its past you are looking are not two facts. They are one fact wearing two names. And here is the part that stops people cold. Because that light takes so long to arrive, some of the stars you can see tonight are not there anymore. They burned out or collapsed or blew themselves apart hundreds or thousands of years ago. But the light they sent out before they died is still in transit, still crossing the gap, still arriving. So you stand there looking up at a sky full of stars, and an unknown number of them are ghosts. Points of light from things that no longer exist still shining for you because the message of their death simply hasn't caught up yet. The night sky is not a picture of how the universe is. It is a picture of how it was. Every star frozen at a different age, everyone a little window into a different moment of the past, all glowing at once over your head. You can go further than that. There's a faint smudge of light up there that you can just barely see with your naked eye if the night is dark enough. That's the Andromeda galaxy, and its light has been traveling toward you for about 2.5 million years. 2.5 million years. So when you look at it, you are seeing it as it was before human beings existed. And the light leaving Andromeda right now, this very instant, will not reach Earth until long after you and everyone you have ever known is gone. With nothing but your own eyes, standing in a field, you can look directly at a piece of the deep past, further back than any book, any fossil, any memory. Seeing, it turns out, is a kind of time travel. It only runs in one direction, and it's the only kind any of us will ever get. Okay. So light is slow, and everything you see is a little bit old. You might be thinking, fine. But for the things right in front of me, the delay is billionths of a second. Basically nothing. I'm still basically seeing the present. I'm sorry to tell you it's worse than that, because the light arriving at your eye is not the end of the journey, it is the start of a second one. The light hits the back of your eye, gets turned into electrical signals, and those signals have to crawl up the nerve, into your brain, and get assembled. sorted, decoded, stitched together into the actual experience of seeing. And that takes time too. Real time, not nanoseconds this time. Something closer to a tenth of a second. A tenth of a second does not sound like much, but it means the moment you experience as now is always running about a tenth of a second behind the world. By the time you consciously see anything at all, even something pressed right up against your face, that thing has already moved on. The image in your head is a slightly old report. You are not living in the present. You are living in a rolling replay of a present that already happened, narrated to you by a brain sealed in the dark, working as fast as it possibly can, and still, always, arriving late. You can actually measure this delay out in the real world. It is why at the Olympics, if a sprinter pushes off the blocks less than a tenth of a second after the starting gun, the officials throw it out as a false start. Not because they think she cheated, because human nerves and a human brain physically cannot turn a signal into a movement any faster than that. A tenth of a second is roughly the hard floor on how quickly you are capable of knowing that anything has happened at all. Reality gets a head start on you every time, and the rules of track and field are quietly built around the fact. And here's the strange part. Your brain knows this. On some level, it knows it's behind, and it absolutely hates being behind. A tenth of a second of lag is the difference between catching the ball and getting hit in the face by it. So your brain does something genuinely sneaky to cover for the delay. It guesses. It does not show you where things were when the light left them. It predicts where they probably are right now and shows you that instead. When you watch a bird cut across the sky, your brain is quietly nudging the bird forward, painting it a little ahead of where the old light says it is, so that the picture in your head lines up with reality by the time you act on it. Scientists can even catch the brain in the act. There are simple little visual tricks, one of them called the flash lag effect, where your brain guesses the position of a moving object and gets it provably, measurably wrong, placing it ahead of where it actually was. You are not seeing what's there. You're seeing a prediction, a forecast. So sit with what that actually means. The now you walk around inside all day is not the present. It can't be. The present is unreachable, always a tenth of a second too far away to catch. What you are experiencing instead is your brain's best guess about what the present probably looks like. Built out of old light and stale signals and a clever forward prediction, then updated and corrected so smoothly, so constantly, that you never feel the seams. You do not see the world. You see your brain's live forecast of a world that is always one step ahead of you, and it is so good at the forecast that you have spent your entire life convinced you were seeing the thing itself. Now bring it all the way back in, back to that face from the very beginning, the person across the table, someone you love. Put the whole chain together, the light crossing the space between you, the tenth of a second your brain needs to build the picture, the little forecast it paints on top to cover the gap. By the time you truly see them smile, the real smile has already changed, already moved on to whatever came next. You are always a beat behind them, a beat behind their face, their eyes, the exact look they just gave you. You have spent your entire life one small step behind every single person you have ever loved, seeing who they were a moment ago, never quite catching who they are right now. You never have caught up. And you never will. That's the bleak version. But stay with me, because just like everything else about being a person, the moment you turn it over, it stops being a theft and becomes a strange kind of gift. Yes, you can never see the present, but look at what that actually means. It means the past never fully leaves. It means every face, every star, everything you have ever looked at is still sending its light out into the world, and that light has to go somewhere. It goes to you. The warmth of a sun from 8 minutes ago lands on your skin. The light of a star that died 1,000 years ago finishes its long, lonely journey across the entire galaxy right there in the back of your eye. In you. For one moment, you are the place where that ancient light finally arrives. You are its destination. That is what seeing actually is. Not reaching out and grabbing the present, you were never able to do that. It's standing still and letting the past come to you. Every glance is a tiny act of receiving. The universe is constantly mailing you postcards of everything that has ever happened. A face 3 nanoseconds ago, a sunset 8 minutes ago, a galaxy 2.5 million years ago, and your eyes are the address every one of them was sent to. Look up at the night sky tonight, and you are not just stargazing. You are catching thousands of years of history in a single upward glance for free, with equipment you were born with, available to absolutely anyone willing to tip their head back and look. There is no museum on Earth that lets you see further into the past than your own two eyes do, every single night. And that face you love, the one you are always a beat behind, turn it over too. To see someone at all is to receive a little piece of who they just were, sent across the space between you, arriving safe in your eyes. You are not failing to reach their present. You are being handed their past. Gently, continuously, every second you spend looking at them. Maybe that is the only honest way anyone has ever looked at anyone. Always seeing who they were a heartbeat ago and loving that, and then letting the next heartbeat arrive and loving that too. You were never going to catch the present, but you get to keep receiving the past, one beat at a time, for as long as you both get to look. So here's the full picture. Light is fast, but not infinitely fast, so everything you see is already old. Your brain is quick, but not instant, so even that old picture reaches you late. And to cover the gap, your brain hands you a forecast, a smooth, confident guess about a present you are physically incapable of ever seeing. A face 3 nanoseconds back, the sun 8 minutes back. A whole sky full of stars, some of them already gone. All of it. Always. The past. Arriving in your eyes right now and quietly calling itself the present. So go ahead. Look up from the screen one more time. Look at the nearest face or your own hand or out the window at the light. It feels completely undeniably present, doesn't it? Right here, right now. You know the truth now. It isn't. It's the past, a few billionths of a second of it, or 8 minutes, or a million years, finishing its journey in your eye. You are always looking back. You always have been. And tonight, when you step outside and tip your head up at the stars, some quiet part of you is going to remember that you are staring straight into deep time, catching the last light of things that may not even be there anymore. But maybe now you'll think about it the other way around. You will never see the present, and that is exactly why you get to see everything that ever was. So no, you'll never look at the sky or a mirror or someone you love quite the same way again. You're welcome.